It's time to say goodbye to hold music and say hello to fast customer support with Service Cloud. With trusted AI and data working together, you can skip long wait times and deliver efficient, personalized service right away, all while keeping support costs low and more customers happy. Reimagine your customer support with the #1 AI CRM for service. Learn what's possible at salesforce.com/products/service.
This episode is brought to you by Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business. Want to advance your career or switch fields? An MBA from Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business can help. Earn your degree from a top-ranked business school with a thought-provoking curriculum, one-on-one leadership coaching, support from experienced career counselors, and full-time, online hybrid, and accelerated MBA formats. Join the intelligent future. Visit cmu.edu/Tepper to learn more.
The problem with the Facebook group is that you either have to be giving content that engages people, or you have to have people that are engaged with the group and that will provide content. With the Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group, we aren't just talking about podcasting. Podcasting is a very broad topic, and rather than have the Facebook group just talk about podcasting, we want podcasting to be the idea that brings us all together. We want to create a community that has come together through podcasting. Podcasting is what makes us a community. My name is Jeremy Quintanilla. This is the story of my life as I build my family business, dive into politics, figure out how to leave a legacy, and all the other adventures life has in store. You're listening to Age of Jeremy, Season 2, Tribe. My favorite podcasts come from the media outlets like Vox Media, Slate, NPR, This American Life, all the finely tuned, high production podcasts from large companies. That's really not what Age of Radio is about. One day, those things will exist at Age of Radio, but at its heart, it will all be about people that love audio and enjoy sharing their voice and enjoy sharing their stories. If we look at a lot of the shows that are becoming part of our network, there is a lot of true crime. So, as it would be, there are a lot of people in the group that love true crime. The truth is, I don't listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. Now, I binged Serial Season 1 in a night, which kind of pissed me off. Not that I binged it in a night, but the show actually pissed me off because she didn't even solve the murder. So it seemed like a complete fucking waste of time. The point being is that the people that are in our Facebook group like all kinds of different podcasts. They like true crime, they like humor, news, movies, entertainment, anything that you can think of, all kinds of topics. It's difficult to have the Facebook group focus on one topic because it's really our love of podcasting that brought us together. The other problem is that if you're not consistent in a Facebook group, then people aren't being engaged. Most normal people, unless there's a culture that exists, aren't going to stop what they are doing and go post in a Facebook group they're a part of. We need to provide content on a daily basis that can get people engaged and open them up to podcasting and podcast-related topics. And this is really what we're trying to accomplish. Now, our original marketing team consisted of me, Nikki, she's from Color Me Dead, Adam and Chuck from Learning to Curse, Danielle, which is my wife, and Jessica, who is helping with content automation, or who was helping with content automation. So what we originally tried to do went like this. Monday, I would post a podcast that I was listening to. Tuesday, Nikki would post a podcast that she had listened to the week before or was listening to that week. Wednesday was Danielle, Thursday was Chuck, and Friday was Adam. When we first started doing this, it was working well. But like most things, people want consistency, and they want consistency that has some change-ups. So what we did was on Thursday, we tried what we called a text-isode. Now, a text-isode is a way we could take a topic from one of the shows and then engage the group to try to get a conversation going. The first text-isode that we did, I think, if I remember correctly, it was about aliens, and it was really complicated, and only a few people engaged. We tried it again on Valentine's Day, I think, and of course that got more engagement because more people were interested in Valentine's Day. And I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I think it had to do something about love. So then what happened was Danielle had a really great idea, and her idea was called the sound off. How it originally went was we would sound off and ask all of the Facebook group members to list off podcasts that they were listening to get more engagement. The problem was getting everyone to do this consistently. And what I mean by everybody doing it consistently is getting people to release the text-isode, getting people to release the sound off. And again, the sound off wasn't just about what people were listening to for podcasts. That's what we originally started it as. But like the second and third one, we would just ask them like random questions like sound off, what's your favorite movie or something along those lines, just to kind of get people engaged and talking about stuff within the group. To be honest, I loved all of these ideas, but life gets in the way and it's really hard to stay consistent. John and I talk about it a lot. If you don't know who John is, John's my business partner at 3T Fitness. Now, 3T Fitness is growing very fast, and it seems like it just blew up overnight. The truth is, John has worked from 4 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. every night, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday for like 4 to 6 hours a day. And he's done this for almost 2 years now. Well, at 3T Fitness, he's been doing it for about a year. But at the business that we started originally that kind of evolved into 3T Fitness, we started a year before that, essentially. Now, again, I work for a bank from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., sometimes 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. And then on Monday through Wednesday, I work about 4 hours on Age of Radio and 3T Fitness stuff, just depending on what day it is. Thursday and Friday, I try to get 4 to 5 hours in at 3T. And then Saturday and Sunday, I put most of my day on Age of Radio and Age of Jeremy stuff. And then some other stuff that I'm working on. The point is that success is fucking boring. Now, I don't mean that like all success is boring. I just mean like the daily grind of it is boring. And it can kind of like bring you to a point where you just want to give up because some parts of it aren't really fun. But then when you start seeing these little pieces of success, then you remember why you started doing this. And that success doesn't need to be, necessarily money. I mean, when I first made my first dollar from Age of Radio, I would have to say that was probably one of the most exciting days of my life to have created something and gotten people on board with something that created a dollar essentially. And that feeling of not being a slave to capitalism and becoming the capitalist, I guess that's really amazing. But the actual work, although fun, it's really draining and repetitive. And this is why people fail. It's because they don't know how to be consistent, because being consistent can be really boring.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.
So how do you stay consistent? Well, the answer is that you need to have a really good schedule. The one thing that we need to have is relevant information about new podcasting shows. I mean, after all, it is called Addicted to Podcasting. We want it to stay true to podcasting. Even though a lot of people differ on what a podcast is, My definition of it is any audio show that can be distributed using RSS. Most people are going to disagree with that, and that's fine. We can disagree, but for the sake of what I'm trying to accomplish, that's my definition of a podcast. And just to reiterate it again, my definition of a podcast is any audio show that can be distributed using an RSS feed. We don't just want podcasting to be the only topic that we talk about. Again, this is about bringing people together through podcasting. Now, there's a kind of a mindset about people that are into podcasting. Traditionally, the generations that listen to podcasts are later born Gen Xers, millennials, and Generation Zers. So I guess we need to really kind of find out what these people are into. And I don't mean to stereotype people, so if I offend you, again, I apologize. But most of these people are going to be tech friendly. They're into what we like to call geekdom, or people that are into things that geeks are into, like anime and horror movies and video games. And traditionally, the games they were brought up on, they're really into. Like, for instance, for me, Super Mario Brothers 3 is a game that I played growing up. So I'm really into Super Mario Brothers and Nintendo now, along with like Final Fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons and things of that nature. And again, podcasting started around 2005. So the millennials were in high school and in college. So podcasting started rapidly growing with Gen Zers when they were in middle school or going into high school. Most of these generations grew up more concerned about their health. They also enjoy looking at data. They enjoy going over analytics. And again, this isn't going to apply to everyone. I'm just generalizing so that we can kind of get an idea of what the audience might look like that might become a member of the Addicted to Podcasting Facebook group. Our goal is to focus on relevant content that people will engage in. We want questions and polls that the people that I just mentioned, the Gen Zers, the Gen Xers, the millennials, we want questions and polls about topics that will entice those people to engage. Now, Charlie and Adam had the idea of the Textisode. It's a conversation that shows up within the feed. The original idea would have been a topic that would be relevant to one of the shows. So the first one we tried, like I mentioned earlier, was From Learning to Curse with Charlie, Adam, and Frank. At the time, it was just Adam and Chuck. And they do a show about paranormal activity and other weird shit. The problem was that the Textisode was too in-depth, and people didn't really care. Or maybe not that they didn't care, but they didn't know how to engage with it because it was the first one and it was a complicated topic. The Textisodes have to be general topics. Now, like a logical topic I tried was when Avengers Endgame came out, I asked what everyone's favorite Marvel movie was. Another one that I did was when Luminary came out, I asked if people would pay to listen to podcasts. Now, I do think that I'm going to continue to have the Textisodes and originally I wanted them to be on Thursday and call it Textisode Thursday. But I think that I'm going to change it to have it to be Textisode Tuesday. So kind of where does that really leave us so far? So Monday, and again, this is about making sure that you're building a schedule for the content that you're going to put out. But on Monday, I'll put out what I've been listening to. So it'll be like what I listened to last week or what I'm currently listening to so that people can get an idea of the podcast that I'm listening to, and hopefully that engages them to listen to those podcasts, and we're providing value. So on Tuesdays, I'll release a Textisode. It'll be called Textisode Tuesdays. And again, the idea is to ask a question that's going to have the listeners engage in conversation about whatever the topic is for that week, and have that topic hopefully hold engagement and conversation until the following Tuesday when a new topic comes out. Now, the thing is with the Facebook groups is that I want content to be every day, but I want it to be like in some engaging content or some value add content, really. And we definitely want a different kind of topic every day. And we also need to be consistent. So when I look at the sound off, which is something that Danielle created, I think that that's an easy way to get people engaged. And again, again, I keep going back to this engaged piece because the engagement is really what gets Facebook to take for the algorithm of Facebook to take to take your feed and put it in front of people. So the more engagement that you have, the more that post will be in front of people, even within the group, on their daily feed for them to interact with. And the more that you do that, the more it shows up for people that aren't involved with your group, and then the more audience or listeners that you could reach with your group. So the sound off I am going to be doing on Thursdays. So originally when I was doing this, I thought that it was going to be on Fridays, and that's kind of what I have in my notes. But as I started looking at it, I think Thursday's a really good idea for that sound off. And the sound off can be, it's not going to be just what people listen to for the week. It's just going to be something that is going to try to get people to engage in that post, that where we can learn from each other and hopefully have a conversation. But something simple like, what's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite horror movie? What's your favorite comic book? So forth and so forth, so that when that comes out on Friday, people are going to see it. Like people like telling people the things that they like, so they'll probably engage in it, and then it'll go in front of more people. So that leaves us, so that takes care of Mondays, Tuesdays, and then Thursdays for the sound off. So then that leaves me with Wednesdays and Fridays. Now, polls are something that I've kind of been looking at. Now, a poll is something that engages the answer, where like the sound off just has people say what their answer is, where the poll, it would have answers and they would pick one. The trick is to have the polling content really a few weeks out to make sure that you stay up to date with it. The other good thing about polls is if you do it right, you can get information about your group. And the more information you have about your audience, the better, even if it's with really simple topics. So every Wednesday, we're going to have a poll that comes out, and it's just going to be wacky, weird polls, or maybe it's going to be some good informational polls where we can get a really good idea or collect some data on the group itself to understand it better, so that we can continue to give content to the group that the group wants to engage with. And so then that really leaves us with Friday. And so what I'm going to do on Friday is I'm just going to kind of tee something up for the weekend, something that people can listen to start their weekend off with. Maybe something to binge over the weekend, something that I've been listening to. Again, I have a really long ride home from work and from 3T Fitness, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. And then sometimes even when I get up, we have a record player that's got a Bluetooth connected to it in the living room. So sometimes when I get up and I don't really want to have the TV on, or I want to clean or read something, like on the internet that I can kind of have half of my attention to something else, I like to put on a podcast. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. And so just to kind of give a recap of what we're going to do. Monday is something that I listen to. Tuesday is going to be the text-isode. Wednesday is going to be the poll. Thursday is going to be the sound off. And then Friday is going to be, again, something that I listen to tee people up to binge or listen to over the weekend. And that's really the schedule that I'm going to stick with. And my suggestion to you, whoever's listening to this, and hopefully you have a business or you're a content creator or whatever the case is, or whatever you're trying to do, if you're providing content, you want to have a schedule, and you want that content to be scheduled up. You want to be ahead of it, maybe a few months out, a few weeks out, to make sure that you're staying consistent with it. One thing that I didn't do that I wish that I did when we started our Facebook group was place rules into the group. And I bring this up because it's something that you're probably going to want to do if you're focused on creating a tribe or a Facebook group, or really growing your brand, whether you're a business or a content creator. You really want to probably put some rules into place. In general, I want people to advertise their podcasts, and I want people to put whatever they want in the group. I don't want to stop, them from posting in it because I want them to engage in the group. However, you want to make sure that you have admins and moderators that make sure people aren't really spamming. I did have to stop a few individuals who were just constantly spamming inside of the group. And again, the purpose of the community is to learn from each other. It's to engage with each other. It's to become friends with each other. It's not just a place to sell your stuff to people. It has to be more than that. It's all about building a community. And if you do this, you'll create lifelong customers. It just takes time and consistency. Age of Jeremy would like to give special thanks to Seth Godin for letting us use his book Tribes as the name and jumping off point for Season 2. Buy his best-selling book Tribes, linked below. Our Season 2 song is Autumn by Trophy Eyes from their album American Dream, released in America by Hopeless Records. Age of Jeremy was recorded using Steinberg's Cubase, Audio-Technica mics, Audio-Technica headphones, Focusrite interfaces, and Waves plugins. Check out the links in the description below.